Yeah, buddy. Here we go. Completely hit the wrong screen, but that's cool. We got to see that floating dude for a minute. He's cool. You know what I mean? Welcome to 1 Foot in 5D. This is an unusual little show we're going to be doing tonight. This is going to be a live dig, and we have a special guest with us. I am your host, Alara of Sirius, here with my wicked smart co-host, Loyal to the Foil, and we have special guest, Severe Anon, with us tonight. What's up, Severe?
What is up? Good to be here with you ladies. And what's up to everyone in the chat joining us already? Good to see you guys.
Yeah. Hi, fam.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Super cool to have you with us. Like, I know we've been talking about this forever. Like, we constantly go in each other's thing, like, hey, when are we going to do something? What are we going to do? And it never happens. I'm so glad this is happening tonight. Always awesome to hang out with Severe.
What a topic.
Yeah, I hear you were recently on Alex Jones. Is this true?
I was actually on with Owen Schroyer. I was on Infowars. I had a probably like a 20-25 minute segment with Owen. It was awesome, man. Shout out to Owen over there, the good people at Infowars. Yeah, it was awesome because they wanted to give me props basically for doing the Alex Jones Was Right song, and
which was lit, by the way.
Yeah, those that haven't seen it, got to check it out, man. Where can they find that song at? Is it like your Rumble, your BitChute? Where's it out now?
That is on my Rumble, and it is also the song itself is available at therealsevere.com.
Oh, that's right. You have a site now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hey, they're saying your mic. Can you boost your mic just a
Yeah, it's a little low.
I can try.
Fantastic.
Let me check
Sweet.
my audio settings.
What's going on, fam? Good to see you guys. Karen Allen. Go ahead, Phil.
I would say thank you for the shades. Good evening. Thank you, Karen Allen, for the cookie. Much love to you.
What's going on, New England Dirt Road? Joseph Yanni, Christina Fincher, Successful Sarah, Jerry Lahane, Up 3. Who else is out there? Daisy Frog, Val Howe, the Canadian. I see out there. Toots, what's up, man? Disco Daphne. Commies are garbage. What's going on, guys? Rainbow Snuggle Fritz, haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you.
Hey.
Yes, and the Canadian is in there dropping Severe's links. Yes, thank you so much for doing that. Yeah, it's super cool. Lord did the video. It was awesome. Yes.
You're saying you're a little loud, ma'am.
I'm a little loud?
Yes, your mic is very loud.
Turn my gain down just a little or what?
Just the audio's a bit.
All right, is that better, guys? I'll try. I'm used to having it.
Yes, Severe. You sound, well, to me, you sound better. Laura, that sounds better. Are we good? Are we 5 by 5?
Are we good? Is everybody good? Are we 5 by 5? What's up, Keystone? Good to see you. Morning Flower.
Hey.
Yeah, so exciting stuff, Severe. You're, you know, I know you're kind of big tech's most wanted. You've had to struggle really a lot in the whole conservative rap game to make it. I've watched you get kicked over and over again. You know what I mean? In every way you could get kicked. And so you just keep fighting and coming back, and I think that that's awesome, and, you know, hat tip to you. You're awesome,
That's
man.
how we do. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate that. Yeah, I talk about it pretty often on my streams that, I mean, that doesn't work to their advantage. Every time they try to knock me down and kick me off another platform, it just reignites the fire. So, yeah, man, let them keep playing games. They're desperate. They're panicking, and they have good reason to. They're losing.
Right. Yeah, man, people are waking up in record numbers, you know. That's the one thing that gives me hope every day is to see how many people are sort of waking up, you know, and it's It's good. We've had to watch a lot of gnarly stuff go on in the last few years, but it's woken people up. That's for sure, man. Even the full sleepers now are like, what's going on out there, Foil? What am I missing?
Yeah, I'm severe today, just so you know. That's...
Oh, hold on, I can fix it. All right, I can fix it. Whoops.
I was going to say, that was not like that a few minutes ago.
No, it got switched around on us.
Not like that.
That's funny. So I don't know, what was I saying? Yeah, so but I mean, just what we've seen, you know, with we are on YouTube, so be aware. Just what we've seen with the Rona situation, it's really woken people up. I can't tell you how many people have come to me and been like, you know, it was stupid that I got that, you know, that jab thing that I got. Yeah, you know, now I'm starting to research it. I'm starting to look into it. I'm starting to question things. You know what I mean? Why are they pushing it on everybody? You know what I mean? So that's the hopeful thing, is people are definitely starting to wake up, which leads us to the UFO topic, man, which is been on the news a lot lately. There's been a lot going on with the UFO topic, and I know, Severe, because I lurk on you all the time, I know that you're into the woo. You're fully into the woo, just like we are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and you just are, you know, you're just a researcher, and you know, you're knowledgeable about a lot of different topics. I love it when you do, sometimes Severe hosts conspiracy theory trivia when Tyler's not around, and I'm still pretty loud.
Meet you soon, fam. Just so you know.
Anytime you want.
Soon
it's
because yes, well, so because Tyler's doing his conference, so he's going to be gone for a minute. I might need you to step in, sir. I think it'd be great fun.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah,
do.
definitely.
I mean, not that Tyler's not great and everything, but I love it when Severe's on conspiracy theory trivia. You know what I mean? He's like the fill-in host that I'm very excited when he comes on. Right? It's always an entertaining show when Severe's on. I mean, it is, guys. Thank you, Christina Love. Hey, you, greeting joyfully. Oh, I wasn't supposed to read that part, was I? That's cool. Whatever. It happens. Thank you, Christina. Appreciate your love and support, friend. And Willie Brexit with the shades. Question everything. That's right. Question everything.
Every single thing.
If you're questioning everything and you're thinking for yourself, you're going to get somewhere. We're all going to get somewhere, right?
Right.
So
we had some crazy stuff happen this past week, right? So the Sun had filed a FOIA request a while ago, and they recently got 1,500 plus pages of documents pertaining to UAPs, and not just UAPs, but the effects on the human body, on human tissue specifically. Now, we do not have all 1,500 pages. I don't know who does at this point, but we were able to pull one of the primary pieces that they've been constantly referencing in the news. We're going to go over a little bit of that. We have the report, anomalous, acute, and subacute field effects on human tissue, all 40 pages. We're going to try and break it down for you guys. But first, we want to give you a little bit of an intro, right?
All right, so hit it or what? Hit it, Foil? Hit it. All right. Let's see if I can grab the right screen this time. I'm just struggling tonight. All right, here we go. We'll make them big. How about that'll help out? We'll make them big. Here we go.
Been forced to release an explosive report about UFOs under Freedom of Information laws. Now, the new documents lift the lid on a secretive intelligence program which was run by the I have to do this voice when I'm listening to that music. United States Defence Force and employed more than 50 agents.
Yeah, buddy.
50. The UFO hunters researched health impacts on humans who reported paranormal experiences. And the findings are downright spooky. Investigative filmmaker Jeremy Corbell joins us live from LA to make sense of it all. Jeremy, great to see you again. Now, this new report says UFO sightings left witnesses with burns, nausea, and nerve damage. What do you make of the claims?
Yeah, this is pretty incredible. So first of all, everybody's got this wrong. The New York Times even reported it improperly. The secret UFO study was called AAWSAP, Advanced Aerospace Weapon System Applications Program. It received the $22 million, not ATIP. Now, they generated over 200 reports, but 38 of these reports were technical documents, and one of those documents really stands out. And that document talks about the biological effects of human beings who come into close proximity with a UFO. And there's a lot of negative health effects that have now been revealed by this secret government UFO program, the biggest program of all time. This includes radiation burns. It includes cellular degradation. It includes, on a cellular level, people being harmed, as well as cognitive damage to people. So it's very haunting.
Okay, so do we have to assume then that UFOs are real if we're then looking at physical effects from from being exposed?
Yeah, look, if people don't know that UFOs are real yet, then they haven't been paying attention. Our government, including your government, has admitted that there are machines in our skies that outpace, outmaneuver, and outperform anything of our advanced weaponry.
Hey, Scott.
It is something that the Defense Intelligence Agency, our government, your government, they're all studying because it's perplexing. Who made these machines? What are they doing? What is the intent? Who's operating them? UFOs are as real as the nose on your face.
Yeah. But, okay.
You tell him, Corbell.
Let me be devil's advocate here. They could be something from another country, though. It could be a different type of aeroplane or a missile or whatever.
That would be incredible. But the problem with that is that UFOs have been engaging humanity since the beginning of recorded human history. This isn't a new phenomenon. Our government is studying them, and they've actually looked into that. They've said it's not ours, it's not Russian, it's not Chinese, it's not Australian, it's no technological nation that we know. These machines are so far advanced to anything that we can even conceive of that, unfortunately, your theory is off the table at this point.
Okay, so how concerned then? We say UFOs are real and that it's real that you can have physical effects, physical harm from it. So how concerned should we be going about our daily lives?
I don't think it's a matter of concern. It's a rare occurrence, and typically this does not look like an overt hostility. This seems to be an interaction with whatever the propulsion system is, the method that these things move and fly. That is what it's believed, that these things demonstrate a gravitational propulsion system. So there's some interaction with human biology that seems to occur when you come into close proximity. It's nothing to fear, but it's definitely something that needs to be studied from a global and national security point of view.
So is there a common time that this contact occurs, like after the pub closes or something like that?
Always on Wednesdays.
Oh man!
No. There's not a common time. This was studied military encounters, right? That's something that the follow-up program called ATIP did. Is they were studying military encounters. We all know about the Tic Tac UFO case. It's the most famous UFO case of all time. This is something that occurs regularly with an increased frequency, but not just on Wednesdays or after people leave the pubs.
Okay, all right.
Jeremy, popular in my chat.
Great to talk to you. It's always so interesting.
Great to talk to you, and thank you for covering this.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jeremy. We appreciate you.
Yeah, he always tells the truth, man. He comes with the whole truth, nothing but the truth. You guys know it, and I love how he's got his little safe in the background just in case.
Is that why we couldn't find the documents, Foil? Because they weren't technically ATIP documents. But how come we were able to find the 40 pages?
Well, ain't that the question? Right? I don't know. I haven't seen the whole document dump posted anywhere. If somebody else has seen it, please do shoot it over to me.
Is that what this is or no? Because this is the Black Vault document dump on all the ATIP stuff that they have. Right? So is this,
I don't know.
What's the date on this?
When I went on to Black Vault the other day.
This is 2019.
Yeah, well, some of this is older stuff. I mean, I don't know how he dates it on there, but the only full piece of this that I was able to find is this acute and subacute, the part that's dealing with the effects on human tissues, which is what the news has been reporting on.
Right. Yeah, so I wonder what this, because this is dated 2019. This is... This is all kinds of different stuff.
So severe
inertial electrostatic confinement fusion.
Right? Do you have you seen some UFOs around your area?
In New York?
Yeah.
I have. Well, I've seen stuff that's kind of don't really know exactly what it is. I don't know if you'd call them UFOs. I've seen some weird stuff though, man. I saw a lot more when I was out west. When
I know, right?
Yeah, when I was out in like Colorado and stuff like that in the winter, I saw some pretty crazy stuff out that way. Definitely super woo compared to the stuff that I've seen in New York. But I have seen some pretty crazy stuff out this way, especially where I am now. I'm not far off the water, and right down by the water is where you see a lot of that kind of activity. Not so much in the open fields where you would, think you would see that kind of stuff. More on the water.
I had the same experience in Cleveland, like over Lake Erie, on numerous occasions. As a matter of fact, one time when I was on my state vacation, I could literally see. And then I thought I was tripping. Right? I totally thought I was tripping, but a whole bunch of other people saw it too. And then it was reported on the news. I was like, oh wow, that was legit. Like, but it was out over the water.
Foil's been getting more UFO action since I moved to Christian Iraq than I get. I get no action anymore. Foil gets all the action. I don't know what's going on. She called me out in the yard, was like, I don't know, a couple months ago, maybe 3 months ago.
Yeah, there was something hovering.
She was out there taping a ship. Like, look at this, you gotta see this. And I've had
it was just chilling.
Nothing since I've been out here. Just nothing. And it used to be a weekly thing in Arizona for me. So I don't know.
Yeah, in Arizona. When I was out in Arizona, that's the most that I've ever seen. And this is in, it was either the late 90s or early 2000s. But I mean, nightly. Whenever I mean, literally every night that I was out there for, I was there 2-3 weeks, somewhere in that time frame. And literally every single night. It's really what made me a believer is when I went out to Arizona the first time.
I bet.
Yeah, man. LA. Yeah, Southern California and Arizona in particular. I mean, I'm sure New Mexico people that live there probably have, see a lot of stuff, but for sure Arizona and Southern California, it's just almost all the really crazy encounters I've had were all there in that area.
Oddly enough, Arizona was like number 8 as far as frequency of sightings. We talked about this on Conspiracy Theory Trivia a couple of weeks ago. California was number 1. Arizona was number 8 because I pulled those states specifically. Florida was up there. I think here in South Carolina, we were like maybe 15 or 17. It was number 15 or 17 as far as frequency of sightings. DC was the lowest, and they rated DC as if it was a state, but DC was the lowest rated as far as frequency of sightings, which is crazy because we had that experience where everybody pretty much refers to it when they flew over the Washington Monument, like back, what was that, in the 40s, maybe?
50s.
Thank you, Daisy Chains, for the shades. We are glad you are here. Much love to you. Thanks, Kaboomer, for the can. We love the woo. Thank you, Lord QAnon, for the shades, and Julie65 for the cookie. Much love to you all.
I can't believe they said Arizona was 8th.
Number 8.
I would have said top
you
3.
Would think, right? You would think. It was actually 8th. All right, but let me see. While you guys talk amongst yourselves, let me see if I can find it real quick, and I'll give you the frequency of sightings. Hold on.
Yeah, if not top 3, I would have thought top 5 for sure. 8th kind of really surprises me, actually.
Yeah, that surprises me too.
Oh, wow.
I wonder where do you happen to remember where New York ranked in there, somewhere in the middle?
You gonna telegram it to me?
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, I can do that. You can pull it up if you want.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah, California number 1, Florida number 2, Washington State number 3, Texas number 4, New York was number 5 actually, Pennsylvania number 6. Arizona number 7, so I was close. Arizona was number 7. Ohio was number 8. J. Allen Hynek was from Ohio. Maybe he brought the peeps with him. Illinois, North Carolina was 10. Michigan was 11. Oregon is ranked 12th. Colorado 13.
They don't like South Carolina, man.
Jersey was 14. That's weird. New York is number 5. Jersey is number 14.
I'm shocked that New York is 5.
Isn't that crazy?
From my personal perspective, from what I could speak to, that blows my mind actually.
Yeah, Georgia 15, Virginia 16, Massachusetts 17, Missouri 18. Damn, I must have been off on South Carolina. Indiana 19, South Carolina was 20th. So
Oh, no
there's your
wonder.
top 20,
Well, that
folks.
explains it. South Carolina gets no love. Gets no
Yeah, you
space
went
love.
from high woo area to relatively
Yeah.
low woo.
Right?
Oh, there's woo here. I mean, come on, man. My dad's seen a dragon. All right, we have a dragon sighting. That was official, right?
Right? Truth.
I've seen at least 2 UFOs out here. I got 2 on tape when I was taking my niece home the one day out in the middle of no man's land. Like, we're in no man's land, but I mean really out in the middle of no man's land. That was the first time, and then over the house, what was it, like a month and a half ago?
A few months ago. It was a few months ago. Yeah, but I've had nothing, nothing. I wonder how much bases factor into that. Like, I wonder, what was that? Oh, OBS Studio just said it reconnected.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, we should be all right now. Wow, interesting. We're having tech difficulties.
Right?
That's funny. This hasn't happened in...
I wasn't supposed to give that information out, apparently.
Anyways, it would be fun to do a dig on where these locations are, and near bases and so forth. See if we can actually make a diagram and have it make any sort of cohesive sense. And
Frequency of sightings.
You'd probably see some pretty weird connections there if you did that. That's an awesome idea.
Right.
I bet.
Just like the national parks and the bases, that whole map, that thing's wild. Have you seen that? Yep.
What?
And the missing people. Yeah. That's
The missing 411 stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Buddy.
Lines right up. Okay,
All
so
right.
what would you guys like to jump into next? So would you find this on UFO Twitter? Lou Elizondo commenting on Fox Business.
Yeah. Well,
not too long ago about the same thing.
Yeah, we had Jeremy on, and he's such a truth teller. I thought we'd bring Lou. Everybody loves Lou. Right.
Let's see what 2 cents Lou is throwing in on the matter, and then from there, guys, there was another thing that where a guy kind of dug into the source on this stuff. We're gonna cover that, and then we'll actually jump into the documents themselves and start to dig on that and see what we can find. So let's hear Lou's 2 cents quickly.
The American people took a moment to read some of them. I think they'd find some of these reports.
But I'm going to show the people, Alara.
Are frankly outstanding. And when I say outstanding, I don't
stands out to you most?
Sorry, you can't see Lou's lovely face, guys.
I think what you said there with the radiation burns. We discussed this last time a little bit, didn't we? We hinted towards it, and that was when individuals, fighter pilots, in some cases, came too close to UAP. They experienced negative consequences. It looked like what was referred to as a sunburn. And in reality, what we think was exposure to some sort of radiation, high frequency radiation. And interestingly enough, as those pilots got closer and closer, they started to experience internal organ damage as well, and specific morphology in the human brain that can then be looked at both before and after, and you can compare and contrast and say, yeah, this person has sustained some sort of
I know it's low, guys. I can't really do anything about that. It's just low.
Directed energy.
What do you conclude from all of this?
Well, look, it's the same thing that Congress has concluded, and other folks in the media now, mainstream media, that are finally taking this seriously, that UAP are real. These UFOs are real, whatever they are.
Even Harry Reid knew that. He just tried to keep it secret. Harry.
Well, look, I think the secret's out of the bag, and I think there's going to be some more headlines coming up this week that probably people will realize that those individuals who tried to keep it secret are now being held accountable. Congress, for one, is, for example, Senator Marco Rubio and Senator Gillibrand, on a bipartisan.
But it's not them that was trying to keep it secret.
Refusing to allow the Department of Defense and the intelligence community to obfuscate anymore. There's no more hiding behind the green curtain, if you will. Now, hopefully, America is going to know just a small portion of what I was.
Oh, Marco Rubio's our savior, guys.
They gotta have you back there.
These news clips totally bore me. They make the same comments over and over about, it's this rabbit hole is so extensive.
They got their talking points, and then that's what they're going to talk
about.
And
they all go out. The same figures go out and they give the talking points every time. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing. And this topic is so deep and so dynamic, and they just scratch the surface of it, and that's where it's left. You know what I mean? Every time.
Frightening Me says UFO sunburn and close encounters of the third kind. This is true. It's crazy because we probably get more disclosure from our pop culture shows than we do from the actual government. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they've been giving us little hints, and I try not to decode stuff, guys, but I think there's a lot to be said for that. There are some other things, like a lot of these effects that we're going to be going over, like, seem very similar to like what we're seeing with like the Havana syndrome and other things. I saw somebody mention that in the chat earlier. It's wild. But the problem with these documents, right? And this was called out, and he got roasted on Twitter for it. Let me tell you, right? By this, what is his name? I don't want to say Alan Greenspan. I know that's wrong. It's Greenspan, something Greenspan. What was it, Alara? You got is it Jeremy Greenspan? Somebody Greenspan, right?
It's Stephen Greenstreet.
Stephen Greenstreet. I'm
So,
Alan Greenspan. Sorry, guys, for those of you that know who the hell I'm referring to. My bad. Definitely
he's at
wasn't
Middle
that
of
guy.
Mayhem on Twitter. Says he made a 2-minute that's up on the screen now for everybody. As much as our box is up there, so it's covering some of it, but I made a 2-minute explainer regarding the recent media coverage of the new Pentagon documents talking about injuries from UFOs and alien abductions. So let's watch this guy's video real quick.
A 1,500-page Pentagon report. The report says humans have been injured from exposure to UFOs, from abductions and perceived time loss to sexual encounters and unexplained pregnancies.
Some of this stuff is really bizarre.
See this guy.
And he calls them out on their sources. He calls them out on the sauce.
How did he get a hold of him, man? We can't even find him.
He's referring to the same document we're going to cover.
Well, it was in the Men in Black, man. You know it's all in the Inquirer. Come on.
They told us, right? Read the
They
tabloids.
told us, you know. Come on now.
Australian penthouse.
They say the truth is out there, and it might be terrifying. A just uncovered Defense Department summary of UFO-induced effects ranging from abduction and paralysis to electrical shocks and even sexual encounters is shocking the world tonight. The report, again, is from the Defense Department.
So they're playing us, dude. They're running game on us. They're running game.
Here's the thing. Now, listen, Alara, on this channel, and we've talked to people in interviews, and we've some of our friends have channels. They bring people on that have some pretty extraordinary claims. We cannot necessarily discount all of that just because it was in the Inquirer. You got to remember, people refused to report on this shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they had to take it. You know,
To
so
the Inquirer.
I just wanted to point out that you know, it's worth considering maybe some of the sourcing on these cases. You know, but like I said, where else did they have to publish at the time? This has only become a mainstream topic recently, accepted as a mainstream topic, and then we've only seen it starting to be accepted in academia in the past 3 years since maybe Avi Loeb come out talking about a Muamua in 2017. So
Yeah, you couldn't go around telling people you were pregnant and it wasn't a human that got you pregnant. Who were you going to tell that to some years ago? You know what I mean? You'd have been laughed at. You might have lost your job.
Right. Let's look at the case of Betty and Barney Hill, right? First alien abduction that really got reported on, that really got any kind of attention, and she said they did sexual experiments. And this was back in the day, you know?
It was the 60s,
And
yeah.
I mean, a lot of us pretty much take that as a, like, I mean, that seems to be an authentic claim, you know? So, I mean, we can't discount all of it, but it is, like I said, worth considering that, you know, some of this stuff is a little
Right, but the
wild.
mainstream media is blowing it up. See, this is my point. Is they're hyping it like we got these DIA released documents under FOIA that talk about them admitting, you know, that's the way they make it out, when in reality the source list is something entirely different, right? It's almost like they are trying to make a mockery of this stuff. But anybody that really already knows this stuff's all real, right? So whether it came from them or whether it came from reports to the Inquirer or wherever, it doesn't discount that stuff actually happens and it's actually real. But what's the clown show then with the mainstream media and with the same cast of characters referring to these documents as though I would say sort of misleading people as to there's something that they're not, right? I think that's interesting, just in and of itself.
What do you think, Severe?
Oh, I agree. I mean, anytime that they do this with everything, whatever you believe, we could go down a completely different rabbit hole when it comes to like flat earth, hollow earth, all the different theories and such. But you see a perfect example is, whether you believe in it or not, there is a pretty good case to be made, just in terms of debate. Like anyone that's ever taken like debate classes and stuff like that, sometimes you're forced to debate the side that you don't agree with, that you don't stand for, that you don't see eye to eye on whatsoever. But it forces you to look into the other side and prepare a logical, coherent debate for that side. So if you look at it analytically, just from that angle, when it comes to the flat earth thing, there is an entire community of people that have legitimate, logical debate kind of points that they'll bring to the table. So what do in the mainstream? They create the Flat Earth Society, which is the most ridiculous mockery of. There's not one person that actually believes any of that garbage that they put on what's known as the official website. But this is what they do. They take information, whether, it's valid or not, doesn't matter. They try to make it into the most clowny kind of version of it that they possibly can. And you see, they're using sources. What were some of those that were pulled up? Australian Penthouse?
Yeah.
Was that one of them?
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, man. So you see what they do. They take things, they intermingle things that are real and things that are blatantly on their face fake, and just put them together so that it throws people off and you don't know where to look for the actual information. I mean, they do this with everything.
It's
like
So this is
purposeful,
just another example of it.
like intentional mind screw is what like
absolutely.
even if the information is good, then they put it out, they put it in a document, they bring, they make it to where if you want to find out, you like the guy made the little video, and then they can say, oh well, it's from the Inquirer, you've got people reporting on it seriously, you've got people that are countermanding that, so you've got, nobody knows what to think.
So now when you see that, if you believe that there's legitimacy to it, and then you start to look into it and you want to believe and want to do the research, and then when you start to, you see those are the sources, immediately, this is some Inquirer nonsense. Like, I'm good. I'm not going to put any stock into what's being said. But this is what they do. It ties into karmic law and all that stuff. They need to disclose this stuff. They need to tell you what they're doing. It's part of the rules that they play by. That's not my rules. That's their rules that they play by. So one of the ways that they do that is by putting the actual information out there, but putting it through a tabloid that's been discredited, that's been, whatever you want to call it, that's been run through the ringer. And people will look at something like The Sun or the Inquirer or any of these tabloid kind of magazines, and just it's discredited before they even really look into it because of what they've done to the source. So now they'll put the real information out through these channels, they'll use these vehicles to get the information out there, but it's already discredited before people even have a chance to digest what it is that they're seeing and what they're taking in.
Exactly.
So,
and somebody in the Foxhole chat says like a fiction movie or a TV show. That's exactly right. Like, they put it on the X-Files, and they give us the truth, right? But it was on the X-Files. So...
And then people just they chalk it up to, it's just a TV show. You can't take that seriously. And it's like, dude, they were trying to drop sauce on you all the entire time.
Right. Okay, so I went ahead and forwarded, now that, granted, this is only 30 pages of the 1500, right? But I went ahead and went straight to the references. Okay, and if you go through the references on these first 30 pages, I don't see the Inquirer anywhere in here. We've got this guy, can't say his name, UFO-related human psychological effects, Geographics Printing Company out of Texas. You've got physical evidence related to UFO reports, the proceedings of a workshop held at Pocahontas Conference Center in Tarrytown, New York. Okay. Then we've got Cash Landrum radiation case, MUFON. You know, MUFON UFO Journal, page 165. We've got Amendum to Non-Lethal Technologies, Worldwide Bioeffects of Selected Non-Lethal Weapons, Army INSO Intelligence and Security Command Report, 1998. So now if you go down through these references, I don't see any of that clown stuff that Homeboy was talking about. So now it's just what you said, Severe. They've got the clown stuff, the Inquirer stuff. We have to go on the assumption then that those references are in the other documents, right? So
right.
They're mixing the Inquirer stuff with legitimate scientific journals and books on different cases, and they're mixing it's a whole bunch of different things, right? But that guy, for whatever purpose, he just picked out the Inquirer snippets and the stuff from Penthouse and the stuff that makes it look like a clown show, right? But based on these first 30 pages,
it's like any other controlled operation. You know, any one of these controlled opposition operations all function the same. They'll give you a ton of truth. They'll give you like 85, 15, 90, 10. So 85, 90% of it, you could verify it's all true. So once they gain your trust, they could sneak that 10 to 15% of nonsense in there. And you're not going to second guess it because 85, 90% of the time, these sources are reliable. So they'll take actual sauceable stuff and they'll just toss in the BS with it just so they have a crutch to lean on when they go to discredit it. Exactly like what we just saw. So there'll be 1,000 different sources. They'll find the 3 that are questionable. And those are the ones they'll harp on and the ones that they will put to the forefront and make it look like the majority of the document are from these discredited tabloid kind of papers.
Yes. Right. And this is the research ATIP was doing into this topic. That's what these FOIA documents that the Sun requested were. Right? So this is all the stuff that ATIP was researching on. And there's everything in here. From medical journals, you've got some biological effects of low energy protons on skin radiation research. There's all sorts of materials, from books to conferences to lectures to it's all over the board, you know?
I think a lot of this stuff
sounds like a thorough investigation.
In here, a lot of this stuff is medically verifiable stuff. Right. Like if we pull the article, matter of fact, let me see if I could find it. But if we pull the article, the articles the Sun actually posted, like they only showed like 8 pages from that. Even like the Live Science article, they only showed a few pages and it all referenced back to the Sun. Like finding the actual documents was very difficult. Right. But like, for example, they go in here, you know, matter of fact, on page 6, the very first example that they give, they say several years ago, 3 previous fit and active individuals experienced an anomalous aerospace related event. Within 72 hours, they suffered medical signs and symptoms, acute and subacute effects. These included almost immediate arrhythmia, heat and redness, overexposed to electromagnetic radiation on their skin, varying degrees of the following as a function of their body surface exposure times: fever, pain, headaches, numbness, paresthesia, malaise, diarrhea, alopecia, loss of hair, skin eruptions, boils, cardiac palpitations, and beginnings of what were to become chronic headaches and symptoms of insomnia and other sleep and dream disturbances.
Interesting.
Moderate to occasional severe anxiety and insomnia. 2 of the persons also experienced photophobia, dry and scratchy stinging eyes, and extreme inflamed bloodshot sclera, the whites of the eyes, with soft tissue swelling of the eyes. 1 of the 3 experienced moderate blood dyscrasia and signs of radiation illness over several years, developed signs of malignant transformation. So ended up with what I assume are malignant tumors, right? They say that they did extensive, albeit controversial, investigations that showed that the 3 had been subjected to an accidental exposure in near field to broadband ultra high radio frequency mixed radiation of radio frequency, some non-ionizing electromagnetic radiation, microwave energies, probably mixed UVA, UVB, and UVC, centered around 785 megahertz. And that these guys were actually antenna engineers. So they weren't just like, you know, random drunkards coming out of the pub, right? These were antenna engineers that had this exposure. And then there was an extensive review of the medical literature and a compilation of a database to correlate their experiences with other reported experiences of people that had these close encounters.
And if you check their sources, these people did research into these different radiation effects and what the symptoms were, and they did all this research into that before these diagnoses of these cases were made. That's what some of that information is.
And some of this research that was, I mean, most of the research that was done with our own tech. It had nothing to do with UFO sightings. I mean, like, we can test the effects of ionizing radiation on the body. And then when people are reporting it and they explain their experience, we can go back and say, okay, well, these symptoms would correlate with this sort of exposure. Do we have evidence of this sort of exposure? Let's look at it. Let's dig into that, see if we can get something hard to back up this claim. You know, and if there was no reason they should have been exposed to that, you know, then that just adds to the veracity of their experience. Like, hey, man, we were outside and this is what happened, and, you know, and this is what's going on with this now. I mean, dude has freaking tumors, you know, you don't just get boils and tumors and shit because it's something fun to do. Like, something happened.
What's an antenna engineer? Antenna engineer designs and develops antennas and other communication devices. The duties of someone in this career include working with electronic equipment such as modems, cell phones, satellite equipment, and radio antennas.
You know, so maybe some of the radio frequency stuff would have been explainable, or maybe parts of this would have been explainable, but if they're working with a certain type of equipment and they know that they can expect certain types of exposures, I'm sure they were protected for that. And for them to have anything in excess of that, and then to correlate that with the claims that these 3 different people were making, not just one guy, not just a dude, but 3 different people make a similar claim. I'm sure they were interrogated on their sightings. Like, for this to be considered legitimate, they had to have some sort of, you know, definitive experience that between the 3 read as truth. You know, and then they were able to correlate that with whatever effects they were showing. Who said 2 blasts? That's right.
Says the evidence discussed includes scientific material that has been peer-reviewed, contained in recently declassified government documents, and early emergent clinical medical analysis also underway in companion research studies.
Right.
Anomalous vehicles.
Now, let me throw you all a real curveball. Well, is there any chance that all of this, they're preemptively just running cover for the direct energy weapons that they are absolutely using on people right now as we speak for crowd control?
Like I said, a lot of the reported symptoms do line up with what they're calling the Havana syndrome now. We would see a similar overlap, the headaches, insomnia, you know, sometimes the irritation, like the people that were reporting Havana syndrome, some of them had skin irritation, ringing in the ears, like just things that could be explained by that. Right. So, I mean, is it?
I mean, we've seen these people that were on the front lines of some of these protests. You're talking an hour later, almost instantly, minutes later. Blisters recently, on their lips and all kinds of, like, they look like lesions almost.
Oh yeah, they were frying them. Yep.
Yeah, recently in Canada and in Australia.
In Canada and Australia, yes, absolutely.
Just recently, within the past couple of months. They used it at the truckers' protest, and they used it at a protest in maybe Canberra. I could be wrong on that.
And they start doing this to people and say, hey, it's not us, it's the aliens. You know what I mean? It's like, dude.
I didn't even think about that angle.
That opens up a completely different door for them to open up another narrative.
Right. Well, listen to what they say. So they say among the most important pathophysiological effects are heating and burn injuries, ionizing and non-ionizing thermally induced neurological effects, right? Cognitive central nervous system effects, which we see the burns with that kind of weaponry. We see the neurological effects, cognitive, central nervous system, neuromuscular, central and autonomic, sensory, peripheral nervous, neuropsychiatric, neuroendocrine. There is a lot of overlap there. There is. Auditory, they say auditory, cranial nerves, 7 and 8, communication and disabling effects, noise, and central neurocognitive effects.
How many of these people specifically
talking plasma balls?
How many of these people came in direct contact with a UAP, UFO, whatever, right before they found these effects? That would be my question.
Well, that's the thing. I think they're all saying that happened. But I mean, how do we verify that? I don't know that there are no names in here. Right. I don't know, Alara. I mean, they all claim to have been like this. The one we were just talking about, the antenna engineers, they say it was an anomalous aerospace related event.
I mean, we know what they do with this kind of stuff, how they preemptively set stuff up ahead of time. And
they're definitely up to something.
They're up to something. It's just up to us to figure out what avenue that they're going to take. They're definitely lining something up with all this stuff, for sure. When you start to connect the dots, they are not, it's not happenstance. This is, whether it's what I was alluding to or not, that I don't know. It's just a theory. I'm just spitballing. I'm just throwing stuff out there. Mm-hmm. But that absolutely does open up a door for them to control whatever narrative they want from that point. When people start getting fried for protesting against, government mandates, whatever it is, and they start getting fried this way, they now have a way to kind of ease in the whole alien thing and shape the narrative the way that they want to. So
the aliens did it, right?
Well, wait. They may have given us some. They may have clarified this. Go to page right between page 9 and 10. I think it says what is not addressed in this review. It says we are aware of claims that some new and emergent systems may be intended to cause harm, and thus even be an intended weapon system. We make no attempt herein to validate any claims. There is ample precedent in U.S. history for utilizing separate analytic framework for verification and compliance issues, as in the lag in our recognizing former Soviet Union and Chinese systems utilizing infrasonic, laser blinding, and NIEMR weapons that went unappreciated by our intelligence agencies for 2 decades. Like what we were just talking about, that our government didn't even want to admit existed and China and Russia were using. Like when China was cooking the Indian soldiers in the Ladakh region last summer, right? I mean, we were still, until there were these widespread reports of Havana syndrome by respected members of the intelligence community and our diplomatic corps and whatever, they didn't even want to admit this was happening. So, I mean, they do make that specification.
You see how they're starting to tie this stuff together. It's conditioning, it's priming, it's what they always do.
You know what the Law of One says about UFOs, too? The early UFOs and whatnot, the original, whatever number it was, 900 and something, it says they're used as a type of weapon. Now, why does the Law of One say they're used as a type of weapon?
Could we weaponize everything? Even if we find alien tech, even if we reverse engineer it, nobody's about to use that shit for anything good.
They don't even want to refer to them as spaceships in there, in that section. They refer to them as a weapon system that we designed. I just thought that was an interesting tidbit to throw in there because...
Well, in here they call them advanced aerospace technologies, right? I see somebody... Okay, I seen somebody asking about the distance. They're talking about near field. They say near field is a term we intentionally leave as subjective. We include effects of possible exposures that are within sight of the injured and which are acute within hours or subacute within days, but not longer chronic effects. Our working distance, for whoever it was that was just asking, from the putative emitter is tens of meters, and injury times are less than 10 minutes. So these are.
How
up
far
close
is
and
tens of
personal
meters?
encounters.
Greg Herrera is saying define contact. 20 feet, a fourth mile, 10 miles.
Well, even if
What's
it
tens of
says
meters?
tens of meters, even if it's 90 meters, right? 9 times that's 270 feet. Okay, so this is up close and personal.
Okay.
Okay, and they say that, you know, the most important bandwidth of interest is the range with tissue effects on humans from about 300 kilohertz to about 300 gigahertz. That is from about 1 kilometer to 1 millimeter wavelengths. So this is specifically what they're addressing in these 40 pages that we found, and the specifications that they put on that.
And we also know that there was Tesla had tech like this way back where,
yes,
I forget what the name of the invention was, but where you could tap into the frequency of any object, like in relative close proximity to where he was. And given enough time, could tap into the frequency of a bridge or a building or whatever it was, and literally create enough movement at a molecular level for it to completely crumble and to be destroyed. So if this kind of technology was available that long ago, think about where they've taken it to this point, especially with DWs and stuff like that. They've got this stuff down to a pinpoint science, man. This is why when they start bringing, you know, and giving validity to the whole alien UFO thing, you have to question why they're doing this right now.
Right.
You know, the timing is everything. There's nothing that is just, you know, circumstance with these people. We know that it's all plotted out. It's all written decades in advance. So it's like, what is it right now that they are trying to unfold? What narrative are they trying to build as we speak? And how do we get
Project Bluebeam, man?
I'm telling you, seriously, for real.
Bluebeam Jesus. Speaking of Jesus, thank you, Mess, for the cookie, who says normal is not coming back, but Jesus is. I agree.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it happens soon too. It's getting crazy. It's getting weird. It's gonna get weirder too. It's gonna get weirder. It really, guys. It really looks like, you know, we have a lot more to go through here, but it really looks like they're
a lot weirder.
It looks like they're
interesting.
You know, they could setting it up. They could blame the aliens. You know what I mean?
Right? Doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
When they could just use these weapons all they want and just, it's on us, it's on your government, it's the aliens.
Right, now we need a new war with the aliens. We need a new war with them.
Exactly. Of course they're going to blame the aliens.
And then whatever money is left in the economy, whatever is left at that point, it's going to be like, guys, you know, this isn't even pandemic level of emergency. This is us globally against them. We need
globally. We need one government to deal with this threat.
That's how this lines up. That's really how this lines up. It's just what pieces are they going to play to reach that goal, to hit that end game? Because I think we can all agree that's the direction that they absolutely want to go. It's just blame everything on the aliens. Once they can't blame it on Russia, and they can't blame it on the Orange Man, and they can't blame it on China, and they can't blame it on Klaus Schwab, and they can't, you know, eventually it's just, you know, let's just blame the aliens, man. It's us against them. There's
I blame
no
everything
more
on the robots already. You know,
it's
not that much of a stretch.
It's no more America,
one world government.
It's none of that. It's just us against them. Whatever they are, us against them.
Right.
Right.
Which is why they're being ambiguous about them. Which is why everything's ambiguous about them. They say aliens, but they don't say aliens, and they're never specific about. You know, they leave it very ambiguous. It's not Russia, it's not China, but we don't know.
Right.
It's them, whatever them is. This them they're setting up for us.
It was our favorite representative, Lou, who got up the other day and said, it doesn't appear to be human. At least we got that far. Right? It doesn't appear to be human technology. I saw some people talking about targeted individuals in the chat. Mm-hmm. And they somewhat address this. If you go to page 11.
Do the targeted individuals have UFO encounters? I would love to find that. I'd love to talk to a whole bunch of them, see if these people have UFO encounters that go along with their targeting or not.
I have quite a few on Twitter that follow me that talk about being TIs all the time.
We need to do a TI conspiracy couch and have TIs call in. Yes.
We definitely do. Absolutely. I'm with that. So go to page 11.
I'm seeing what you're saying, Foil. I got it pulled up right here. It's crazy.
Yeah, the newly unclassified material stuff.
Yep, exactly. Where they talk about the Secret Service and stuff, the agent.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
So do you want to read it, Severe, or you want me to do it?
Where are we picking it up from? Right from B?
Yeah, I would. Just kind of explain it.
So yeah, newly unclassified material. This is page 11 of that document. A couple of years ago, a citizen who believed he was being targeted by the United States government with harassing field effect weapons. Edits and highlights below are the authors. Redacted, walked into an FBI field office with a 2-page letter signed by him and addressed to Special Agent Redacted of the United States Secret Service. His letter stated in part, agents of the U.S. Secret Service, as you already know, have been committing very serious crimes against me and other members of my family for a very long time, and I'm taking it more direct action to prevent it from continuing. I'm going to get an admissible confession from at least one of your agents one way or the other, and if I don't get what I am demanding from you today, I will use the method of torture described in the attached pages to obtain that confession and to punish the agent for his or her involvement in the illegal acts that your agents have been perpetrating against me and my family. After he was arrested, the court found the evidence for the alleged electromagnetic assaults unconvincing. The district court then held a competency hearing at which he testified, inter alia, that the back of a pair of his shoes were vaporized by an electromagnetic weapon fired at his feet in 2001. He presented the shoes in question to the district court, but it appeared to the court that the heel of the shoe had simply worn out due to ordinary use. Inevitably redacted, his mental status was questioned. After receiving this report, he requested that he be examined by a medical professional of his own choosing. The psychologist chosen by him concurred with the government's psychiatrist that he is clearly psychotic and precisely fits the diagnosis of paranoid schizophrenia. The story didn't, and then it turned out that he may have been crazy and the government wasn't harassing him, but his document was valid. Then it goes on to the next page. But I mean, yeah, you see right there, that's wild, man.
Yeah, I mean, they say that there was an unclassified document that described precisely and accurately the nature of field effects that this guy was claiming that existed. And for those of you that want to follow along, I dropped the link in the Foxhole, YouTube, and DLive chats to the actual document. We are not up on Rockfin. I don't know if you need to toggle it or whatever, but we're not up on Rockfin.
Oh, I never hit the go live button, dude. Hold on.
Oh.
How did that happen?
Might have to, I don't know, but you might have to pull it and then upload the entire video at some point just to fix it. Hi, Rockfin fam. If you're catching us, we love you.
So do I gotta hit? I think I gotta hit go live.
You asking the wrong? Right? Yeah, I would think.
Okay, back to where we were.
So, yeah, there you guys have the dog.
Sorry, Rockfin, man.
Right. So they say that they offer the above vignette that Severe was just reading to you to make several points, right? The classified information exists that is highly pertinent to the subject of this study, and only a small part of the classified literature has been released. That, while directionally indicative of interest and intention to understand, the material does not rise to the quality of the initiative of the program, in which this paper serves as one analytical example. They say that there is no evidence that the systems described in the document have been fielded, that the development of generators and aiming devices is not a rate-limiting issue, and that there is no doubt that they would work.
And then look at the last bullet point.
Go ahead.
The concerns, therefore, that individuals exposed to field effects as described in the document and in this paper would suffer the claimed injuries are legitimate.
Yeah, buddy.
Somebody's Angel of Pavlov's Corn Dog is asking in the chat what a TI is. TI is a targeted individual. So there's a lot of people out there that claim to be targeted by governmental entities, and that they're being hit with weapons, and their mind is being screwed
gang
with, and
stalked and
all kinds of stuff
across media platforms. I mean, you know, there have actually been some pretty good documentaries produced about this recently. You know, I mean, people that literally get no relief from the energy field unless they have to sleep wrapped in special materials. They buy maybe hats that are aligned with special materials. I mean, true, ode to the tinfoil hat. But they're saying that these are the effects that would be experienced, that there's no reason to believe that this wouldn't work, and that these claims line up and could be seen as to be legitimate. So hopefully that's some, vindication to the TIs out there. If we have any in the chat that can tell us if you are a targeted individual that has also had UFO experiences, if you could just drop a 1 in our chat. And then we'll keep an eye and just
Great
see.
idea.
No, if you're not, don't comment. But if you are, just put a 1 in our chat so we can kind of get an idea of where we're at with this.
Debbie, can you drop those documents? I'm having trouble copying it from here. Can you drop those documents over on the Foxhole, please?
I know for sure, at least to my knowledge, there's at least 1 in the chat right now in Foxhole that I know for sure is. Whether they're going to say so or not my place to say.
Right.
But I know
you want to share.
Sure one is.
Good point. If you want to share,
yes,
yeah, we'd be interested in knowing.
One of my good friends is a TI, and here's the interesting thing about her.
Oh, I see a couple.
She is one of the most benevolent. I would say she's one of those beings that she's very psychic. She has she's different than most people, and this gal has been targeted for years on a really high level, to the point where she's I don't want to go into her personal information. I'll have her come on and say the things that she's experienced, but I know from firsthand experience that this individual has abilities that are not exactly mainstream, and yet she's a TI. And I see this time and time again with TIs. It's like they know the people from the time they're kids or from the time they come in. I don't know which it is. They seem to know who they are, and they go after those people.
Right.
And there seems to be a connection to it. Go ahead.
Well, no, Smitten Kitten was asking what the question was. I said, if you're a TI that has also had UFO encounters, drop a 1 in the chat. That was the question. Sorry,
we got 3, 4. We have
there's
4. We got 4 TIs that are both TIs and have had UFO encounters in the chat.
Yeah. Oh, how about if you're a TI that has not had a UFO encounter?
Put a 2.
Do it in the chat.
Yeah, put a 2 in the chat if you're a TI and you've not had one. This is interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see if they've all had UFO encounters.
And what's funny is in the same section they say, amongst the systems described, or those of special interest in this effort, claimed injury from near-field exposures to aerospace anomalous vehicles and systems. So vehicles and systems, and they say that these people, as described, the pattern and circumstance of injury very often belie naysayer attempts to discredit witnesses, analysts, and those who suffer directly or indirectly from the system. So they constantly are trying to discredit this shit. They say even those who are, from time to time, delusional are not necessarily poor reporters of information outside of their particular delusion. So even if it's a delusional person, that doesn't necessarily mean that whatever they're saying is part and parcel of their delusion and or wrong.
So it's about half and half have had UFO experiences, and the other half have not, that are TIs out in the chat. And there's quite a few TIs out in the chat right now. And you know what I've noticed too, and not a lot of people bring this up with the TI topic, but since we're on it, I've studied quite a bit of this and met a lot of people, and I'm telling you, methamphetamine is used in some way to discredit people. Now, I don't know how they're able to accomplish that exactly, but
if you are a voluntary
meth.
Drug user, yeah, especially meth, but any drugs, if you use drugs, and even if this is happening to you, and even if you go and report it, they're going to shoot you down immediately.
Right.
They're going to shoot you
and
down.
I even have a theory that if they're taking drugs, which usually people that are targeted, they do resort to drugs at some point. Drugs or alcohol or both, right? That they're maybe even getting drugged with that specific drug for some reason. Then they eventually develop the habit specific to, which is the one they want them to have, which is that, because that habit discredits then everything that they say after that. It's just my working theory with it, but it's a common
would make sense. It is a common thing.
And New England Dirt Roadie says, just because I'm paranoid doesn't mean they aren't out to get me. Exactly.
It's the truth.
It's so true.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
Man.
And who better to target than people that are already tripping? I mean, think about it. You got to think about it from all angles.
Let's do this too. Okay, for the TIs in the chat, because this does seem to be, apropos to what we're just. I mean, it's par for the course here. Have you experienced? Give us a one if you've experienced physical effects, any kind of like heating, overheating, direct thermal effects, pain, headaches, physical effects, and give us a one for that. Give us a two for auditory effects. If you hear things, give us a three for both.
Someone in the chat is saying psych drugs are used too. Oh, I believe that 100%.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because they can control what you're dosed on with that, and then they can monitor it with doctors, and they can actually figure out what weapons are doing what. Oh, I'm sure, undoubtedly, it's got to be, but there's a spiritual element to a lot of these weapon systems. You know what I mean? And this is the one thing that's never talked about. We can go through the source material, physical effects, this kind of stuff, and that's what we're doing, that's what we're here to do. But I'm just going to say it, because I'm the woo chick, where there is definitely a spiritual element. I could tell you right now that the Rona has a spiritual element to it. There's something about being sick with that illness that, for one, it feels like a weapon, but for two, there's a spiritual, dark element to that virus.
I agree 1,000,000%. I had that shit for like 3 weeks, and it was unlike anything I've ever had in my entire life. I don't even know how to describe it, but it put me in a place mentally that I've never been before. It's very hard to describe it. It was a very dark, cold, kind of like encompassing kind of feeling. It wasn't, it was beyond just like physical, just like feeling like shit. You know what I mean? It was beyond that. It was a very I don't know, it put like a dark shade over everything. It's very hard to describe, but it was different. It was different. I can tell you that much. It's unlike anything I've ever dealt with ever.
And we don't have an understanding, the human race in general on this planet, we do not have an understanding of the spiritual world. We're not taught about that. Ghosts are still considered like, woohoo, ghosts, We're not educated about the spiritual aspect of existence, of physical existence. We're not taught about any of this. We're laughed at and mocked if we talk about it. And so when there's a spiritual component or a spiritual element to something that's got a physical element as well, that's the part that never gets talked about. You know what I mean? Because you're crazy. You're crazy, And
why is that? Because that's where all the truth lies. Why do they suppress all that? Why do they make a mockery out of everything that it's all the occult information? And when people hear occult, it gets like a negative connotation. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't. It's just the hidden information. It's what they have that they don't want us to have. And they understand that ghosts, supernatural entities, things like that if we're allowed to actually understand what that means and how that operates in the physical realm, we'll get a lot of the answers that we're looking for. And they don't want us to have these answers. They actively keep that all away from us. So that's why anytime that somebody starts, in mainstream, culture, talking about, oh my God, I saw a ghost. The ghost was talking to me. A spirit was talking to me. I was communicating with spirits. They're like, oh God, you're one of those. You're some like hippie dippy, like whatever, like, and it's so ingrained into the culture to just dismiss people that speak that way. And why do you think that is? That's not by accident. That's absolutely by design, because they know that within those interactions, if we were able to make sense of them, or if they were cultured instead of mocked, it would open up paths and doorways that have been locked to us forever.
For sure.
Yeah,
I see we got a lot of threes. A lot of people that have had both physical and auditory. There were some ones and some twos, but a lot of threes. So that's interesting. That's really interesting. And these people are told, like you said, Severe, they're told that they're crazy. I don't buy that. As a matter of fact, on page 14, they say specifically, and they're talking about the auditory effects at this point, but they're saying that the Airborne Instruments Laboratory in 1956 reported for the first time anecdotal evidence that persons could hear RF frequencies. They literally were placing this in corporate advertisements and warnings because of this. But they'll tell you that you're not, you're not hearing this. They say the first systematic review of evidence and experiment of what is now known to be human capability to hear modulation in ears or in the temporal lobe, in your head, in the temporal lobe, as well as in the apparatus of the inner ear and the cochlear microphonic, was not published until 1961, but it was published, and it says it was followed by a series of eight peer-reviewed papers over the following decade.
Yeah, let's not think about why they try so hard to calcify your pineal gland. Let's not think about that. Yeah, no. Let's not think about the fact that they cut off that connection that actually puts us in tune with the kind of stuff that you're talking about, to where you'd be able to pull these frequencies and understand what they are and where they're coming from and what these transmissions actually are. Who's to say, like, that's not for me to say, that's not for anyone to say. If someone's saying they hear God speaking to them, they hear someone speaking to them, who you can't just dismiss that. What if they really are hearing these voices and it's not made up, it's not psychosis, it's not schizophrenia, it's actually the voice of a higher being that is communicating with them as they're being told that they're crazy.
Right, or the voice of a person trying to drive them crazy. We have the patents.
Yes,
we have
exactly.
the patents for freaking voice to skull technology. It is real.
Absolutely.
They have used it. It exists.
1,000,000%. It's like every single thing that they do, they find the positive in it, where we could be getting messages from people that are protecting us, that are looking out for us, that understand, that have an understanding that we don't have, that are trying to guide us. But of course, what do? Take it and turn it into a weapon that they can use against people.
Yeah, this is fine.
It's part and parcel. It's all they do. So if we know for a fact, because the patents are there, you could look them up right now, that they have that technology to beam thoughts to you and to beam voices into your head, then we have to assume that the opposite is also available. And not only is it available, they have it. They understand that technology. They harness it. They keep it away from us. So all they're going to let us have is the negative that they use weaponized against us.
Of course.
Which is why being tuned into your intuition is so important. And this is why we're guided away from being able to tune into your intuition. Like, I could
and if they could figure out a way to shut that off, they would do that too.
Yeah. Because
Absolutely.
how do you tell the difference if between a weapon, it's just like what we were talking about with the Rona, Severe. It's just like we were talking about. How do I know that was a bioweapon? Because I can feel it. How do I describe that to people? You and I just tried to do it. Because it's a weapon.
And the best we could say is it's different. It's
feel
not the same.
Yes.
It's a different feeling.
But that's your intuition that's telling you that. See what I'm saying?
Of course. I've been sick as hell to where I'm in bed and I can't get out from under the covers. I'm shaking 1 second and I'm boiling hot the next. I've been mega sick many times. My body fights it off. I'm good a few days later, maybe a week, whatever. 3 weeks of this cold, negative feeling just dragging on. And I'm like, yo, dude. And I started to kind of wig out a little. I'm like, yo, am I just like this now? Like, is this it? Like, is this just what my life turned into? Like, because it wasn't getting any better. I was just messed up bad for weeks. And then one day, like, I started feeling a hell of a lot better. And then the next day was even better than that. I'm like, all right, thank God this shit's going away. But dude, I started to really begin to wig out, not full blown, but starting to like, yo, what is this, man? This isn't normal. This is different. This is something that, oh my God, I wouldn't wish this on like my worst enemy, man. It was just a very, very dark, like kind of thing. It was not a good experience at all.
Did you take the med protocol?
The ability to do that, like on a mass scale at once to millions of people, dude, it would drop the frequency of the entire collective by like 90%. Like there would be no fight left in anyone, man.
I didn't even think about that.
Alara, can you imagine if every single person you knew felt like that at the same time that you did?
We'd be worthless.
Worthless. You'd have no fight in you, man. Seriously. Like, physically, you're already beat up. You feel like crap. And then on top of it, your mental is just completely clouded and everything is just all messed up, man. Dude, I was misreading people's texts. I was thinking everything people were saying to me was like negative and shit. Like, it was weird. It was really strange, man. Like, I felt very disconnected from what would be quote unquote normal. Everything felt even more clown world than it already was. Everything seemed
right.
even more topsy-turvy. And I'm like, dude, this is too much, man. So now imagine your entire city is like that. And it's like, we're in a lot of trouble if they could figure out how to do that to everyone at once, man.
Severe. That was a test run. That was a test run in so many ways. That was a test run.
I'm telling you, because if they could figure out how to trigger that in everyone, maybe not even everyone, but enough people at once. Yeah. Done. Oh my God. It's literally the collapse of a city. People would not be going to work. People would not be doing anything. People would not be functioning whatsoever. Because I know I couldn't. There was no streaming. I barely wanted to get out of my bed.
And I didn't start to get better till I took the med protocol that not accidentally got it, but they tried to suppress that med protocol. They tried to prevent us from knowing about it. Had I not had that med protocol and not known about it and not known to take that, right? Yep. It would have drug on and on and on and on. You know?
Yep. And what do they say? Oh, it's horse paste. Oh, it's this, it's that. Like these people, man, it's really unbelievable. And then you start to put it together of why they demonize people like Rogan that have a huge platform and they come out and like, this is what helped me. I was deathly ill. Right. I took this, it worked. And then what do? They completely demonize anything that can be used to counteract what they're trying to carry out on you.
Right.
That was a test run. We think of it as a big deal because the whole world shut down, right? The whole world show was a big deal to us, right? Because nothing like this has ever happened. But literally, like I see it now, that was literally just a test run for what's coming.
Yes. Yes.
There are places still. Like, have you seen the videos coming out of Shanghai? All of those people screaming out of their buildings because they're stuck with the drones. Yes.
Bro, the drones literally, like, you must adhere to the COVID protocol. Yeah. Don't worry about freedom.
Ignore your soul's desire for freedom.
That's literally what the drones were saying to the people.
I wish they would. Man, I wish you would send a drone into my personal airspace and tell me to ignore my soul's desire for freedom.
If I saw that shit outside my window, I'm putting Betsy out right now.
Bruh, right?
See ya.
Like,
you say that on my front lawn, we're going to have a real problem. Right now.
Like, that's crazy.
Tech or or human or what? I don't care what you are.
You didn't see that clip, Laura?
No,
I'll make sure she sees it. I only give her so much of the apocalypse world news in a day because she gets all depressed and stuff. I'll give her little tidbits like.
Dude, it is literal dystopian.
The whole city.
Sci-fi, like it's real though. It's like this is shit you would expect to see in a movie.
Man. Did you see the Chinese bro on a cell phone out there screaming like, "What the do you want me to do? We don't have any food. I can't. My business is closed. My people are still like flipping out."
People are dragging their empty refrigerators out onto their terrace to show they have no food, no water, nothing.
Yeah, or the compilation videos of the people just jumping, just like pissing on, just jumping.
And I keep harping like, grow food, people grow food. There's gonna come a time where you're not gonna be able to go to the store and buy food anymore. And even if you could, you're not gonna be able to afford it. That little garden that you took the time to plant in the back is what's gonna save you.
I don't know how many of you guys watch Ice Age Farmer, but if you don't, I don't know what you're doing with your life.
Go follow him.
But
go follow him.
He just the other day had covered. You know, I know a lot of you have noticed the chicken is a little sparse at the store, right? You can't buy no chicken. It's crazy, right? Or if you can buy it, you can buy like one pack, or like they only got one kind. Like it's crazy. We're Americans.
And they're pushing the fake meat on us. They're pushing the Impossible Burgers now, and even in Walmart. You know they're pushing it when they got it in Walmart.
Millions and millions and millions of chickens. They're just culling entire flocks of chicken, claiming this H5N1. So Ice Stage Farmer goes back and he ties it to, of course, old Billy Boy, right? Gates of Hell, right? Ties it right to him. Go watch the video, man. I don't even want to go, right? But this is a problem. As far as the food shortages, like when Biden gets up there and says it's going to be real, like normally he will deny it's going to happen. Then when it happens, he insists it's not happening. Then he blames it on somebody else. And then maybe at the last point, we get like, all right, we got to do something. When he's coming out the gate, like, okay, listen, this is going to be real. Like, already admitting it now, you should probably listen.
Yep. Factual. When they don't even make an attempt to keep the veil over everything and they just pull it down and they're like, hey, this is what's coming. Listen to them. They have no problem telling you the evil shit that they planned on doing to you.
Man, right?
They just normally, they hide it. They cloak it a little bit. Now, he's just coming flat out and he's like, yo, it's game over, man. It is what it is. But I mean, just imagine walking out onto your terrace to yell and scream and protest that you're being locked in your home for 2 weeks without being able to leave. And you're face to face with a drone literally speaking to you, telling you don't worry about like your desire for freedom, suppress that.
Yeah,
I mean,
your soul
sci-fi shit.
Your soul's desire.
Yeah, ignore your soul's desire for freedom. It's like, wow.
Like, who the fuck are you? Like, dude, don't try to tell me nothing. And I dropped the link to that video.
This is an all-out assault on the human race, man. This is an all-out.
If you saw that in a sci-fi movie, it would scare the shit out of you. You'd be like, yo, that's wild, man. But if you see an actual clip, this is happening right now, and it's like, wait, what? We're already here, man.
It's crazy, man. We are so far off the UFO. But listen, guys, important, man.
Yeah, but this is the greatest conversations, guys. When one thing gets your mind going here, and then we all collaborate on our thoughts and with the chat. And this is what's great about live digs. You never know where they're gonna go. You just, everybody's freestyling, and we're just trying to see what makes sense and trying to figure some stuff out that we didn't have figured out before. It takes all of us.
I could tie it back into the UFOs real quick. We could come back around real quick and tie that in.
All right.
What they're doing with the drones, they're making the drones the other. So like when they're making comments like that and telling you to ignore your soul's desire for freedom, immediately you hate drones, they're the other. So what are we going to start to see? Like when we start to see UFOs and other kind of stuff come out, if they direct the narrative, if it's Blue Beam and stuff like that, essentially huge drones. So people are going to see this, they're going to be like, oh, that's a huge one of the others. Like, we already don't like this shit. That we really don't like. So now, if you have good aliens, if you have entities out there that would like to fight this battle alongside of us, even they would not be trusted. They'd even be seen as weapons, as the other, as the dark side. So they're already creating narratives within narratives of what they're doing.
Narrativeception.
I was just going to say that.
Exactly. And you see it though, right? You can see how that they start planting that kind of stuff, that anything you see floating out there, that's the other, that's bad. You know what I mean? When meanwhile, that may not actually be the case, man. There may be definitely, friendly entities that would like to enter this game.
Yeah. I love where your thought process goes sometimes, man, because you're right. When we see, the drones are training you to perceive the others as the enemy, so then if the good others show up, they'll be the enemy too. They're programming us.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
I mean,
and then how do you know? How do you know the difference?
That's why race works so well. That's why they use race all the time. It's the other.
Yes.
They're not going to be able to use that. They can't use that anymore once they do the alien thing. That's they're going to play that out as long as they can. Right.
Not if
because once the others come in, we won't see colors of skin anymore. That'll be dead.
That's why it's
we got to play that out first. That's right.
That's why it is the absolute last card in the deck that they can play, because once they play that one, all the other methods of divide and conquer completely go away. All those walls get completely broken down. So that is their last that is the ultimate Hail Mary. Nothing else works. And we really want to enact this one world government thing and make it us against them. Now we're going to force the issue. But in order to do that, they have to burn every other narrative, every other system of control that they currently have disappears. It dissolves immediately the second they pull that trigger. So if we see them go to that level, that's their last card that they could play. That is ultimate panic. That is, they cannot win with every other system that they put into place. Yeah. So they're going to put all their chips in on this one last one.
And I've seen 50 people in the chats mention the Venom thing. Now, I have not seen this yet, so I do not feel qualified to speak on it. Do you know what I'm talking about, Severe? I know Alara probably has.
In the vax?
Yeah, the Cobra.
The Dr. Artist thing?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't gotten a chance to see the entire thing, but
we will check it out, guys.
I did hear, a little bit here and there. Pretty wild stuff from what I've heard so far. I'll definitely be looking into that later on for sure.
Hi, Dave. I just want to say hi to Dave real quick. Hi, Dave. Good to see you out there. Yeah, we're in a deep conversation tonight. Started out with UFOs, but we're going deep here. We're going all kinds of directions with this.
But you see, we brought it back. We brought it back with the drones, back to tying into like the UFOs and stuff. We brought it back.
Well, a lot of this tech probably came
real quick
from the stuff that they have collected from UFO crashes and shit anyway.
Exactly.
If you guys were into the woo, you got to go and check out Spaced Out Radio. They have an awesome show. It's over on YouTube. It's on a bunch of platforms. They're on late nights.
I'll put the link in the chat.
Yeah, they got a lot of really good stuff over there, guys. If you guys are into the woo topic, which I'm sure a lot of people that are here tonight are, go and check out Spaced Out Radio. Yeah, I was just on there recently, about a week ago. So yeah, they got an awesome thing going over there. I was over there the other night talking about the walking trees. No one's wanted to talk about the walking trees thing. We won't go into walking trees right now. That's a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing. Man. Right, but man. So many things have occurred to me tonight.
I'm glad to see some vindication for the TIs in this document. We know that the technological leaps that we have seen recently. Think about just a little bit ago, we were riding horses, man. For us to expand our technological information exponentially like we have, I truly believe that a lot of this stuff was taken from elsewhere. The CRISPR-Cas9, like
absolutely
all of it, all of the stuff they're doing now is probably based on, if not an integration of tech that we back engineered and our own modifications, or just flat out taken from elsewhere. Like it is truly crazy to see, and the effects that they're acknowledging that there are documented, verifiable effects that can happen to the human body that they are somewhat opening up about. They're giving us somewhere to start. I know a lot of times we talk about drip disclosure, but we've gotten more, and half of it might be horseshit, but we've gotten more in the past 3 or 4 years than we had gotten in the 50 years prior to that. And I'm just talking about from the government. I'm not talking about personal accounts, and I'm not talking about, what we put together, or the press club, the disclosure, stuff with Stephen Greer and the press club. I'm talking about stuff that our government has come forward and said, and their motivations are never good. It's always money and weapons. Like, it's always money and weapons. Yeah, you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Who has the money? Where's the money going? And what's going on with the weapons? Like, this is always the question, right? I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy, man.
Well, I agree with you. I think that the technology's either been hijacked or the deal worked out for it. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, I have no clue. But you got to look at some of this stuff and be like, how? You know what I mean? How? Like, seriously?
Right.
Like, where? Like, you got to be kidding me, man. I think everybody out there at some point has seen some kind of piece of technology and just been like, really? Like,
right?
really?
Like,
People came up with this? Like, how? And then I guess you could see the science behind it if you want to see it from a technological viewpoint. You could see the science and the components that make up the device, but it's like, all right, that's cool, but you're back engineering this stuff. You did not do this from scratch. You got this from somewhere, and you figured out the technology, the pieces that make it tick, and you were able to recreate it in a different way.
Yeah, 60 years ago, we were using transistors.
Exactly. I mean, dude, what used to take a supercomputer to hold the amount of information you could put on a flash drive on your keychain.
Man,
and that's in our lifetime. That's from when we were kids
in
right
a few
now.
decades.
And it's like, come on, man. Right? Really? Huge 200-pound TVs that were this big. Right. And that's what we grew up on. And now it's just these huge flat screens that are, that thick and 80 million times better. And
everything we saw on the Jetsons, man. Everything we saw on the Jetsons.
Minus the food replicators, and
the rest is slowly being just like the warp drive.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We had the documents come out, right?
Yeah, the Alcubierre drive in '94. Right. Where did you get your info from originally, though, bro? You had to synthesize that shit from somewhere. Like the idea is something. But okay, but yes, just like you said with the warp drive, man. Just
they're slowly letting us know, you know what I mean, that it's, before that was science fiction stuff. They're letting us know, oh no, it's coming. You know what I mean? It's possible. That's what they're saying publicly with source documents at this point, with mainstream media articles, mainstream news sources.
We just had this story break last week about the U.S. warship that was chased by the two balls of light, right? This just happened, right? Apparently, this is not like he said, she said. This was an official story. It broke on mainstream news. They were talking about it on mainstream news channels, and then we look back and we see tech like the talking plasma balls, okay, which we covered on Space Force News not too long ago. Right, where they can literally broadcast voices from these pulsating energy balls. Like, the information is all out there, regardless of how they want to paint it.
I truly believe whatever you see, like in a movie or in a TV show, whatever piece of technology you look at and be like, wow, that's what the future holds for us. They got it already. They've already got it. It's already a done deal. The same way that they had 10 iterations of the iPhone when they were releasing the first one. You know what I mean? They already had the next 9, 10 models lined up, but they can't just give it to you. They can't just give you the best of the best. They got to get you to buy the lower one, then the lower one. Then it's how they do it. It's the same thing with like Windows. Ever since, Windows 95, Windows 98, Windows XP, Windows this, Windows that. Dude, they have stuff that blows everything that we're using right now completely out of the water. But what kind of business model is that if they just give you what they have available right now? No, they got to get you every year to make it, to get a new system, or, oh my God, I need that new iPhone.
Planned obsolescence.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. When the technology is there to make anything from cars to phones to anything, quite literally last forever, and it would be the last one that you ever bought. But
just like they can make a light bulb. There's a light bulb.
It never goes out.
First light bulb. I don't know if you see. I think it's at a fire station somewhere that is still burning.
Yep.
That is still burning, right, to this day, from forever ago.
And who do you think pays to have that technology completely squashed and obliterated? It's every one of these industries, the same way that if you could have a vehicle run on water, how many industries does that affect? That affects one of the biggest. You're talking about big oil and stuff like that. One of the top 3 on the planet. So you can't have that. You can't. There's no way you can allow that technology. It crushes too many pieces of the matrix when you do stuff like that. They can't allow it.
Severe, what you were talking about with Tesla, with the frequency stuff and the bridges and all that stuff, that same technology can be used to heal.
Yes, that's my point exactly. And that is, of course, the wave that Tesla was on. It wasn't about destruction. He just realized the stuff that he was working on that could heal people could also be used for very destructive means.
And that's the end of big pharma right there. When you've got When you got technologies that simplified that could heal people from things that used to be terminal that they made a killing off of, that's the end of them. That's the end of that narrative.
We literally
just like cars.
Just covered an article on Space Force News about how they're using ultrasound to heal type 2 diabetes. They're aiming ultrasound they're aiming the waves at certain nerve plexes in the liver, and it's making the liver control the glucose and the insulin from sound waves.
It all comes down to sound. I'm telling you, man, we're going to find out that a lot of these structures built on this planet were built using sound.
Yes, that's why when music was originally tuned to 432, and they purposely switch up the frequencies to cause subliminal reactions in people, it's all by design. They understand that all of this stuff is tied into sound. And all you have to do is look at the actual spectrums that it creates in either water droplets or there are other ones where it'll be like a table of sand, and they'll have the music pumping from underneath it, and it'll create these beautiful geometric patterns at certain frequencies. And then others, it's just completely chaotic and it just looks wrong. They understand, they have a deeper understanding of this technology than they allow us to have, and how it affects everything around us.
Which is exactly why they will admit to there being ships around. They will admit to the people that drive the ships being somebody other than us, but they don't want to admit to the crashes. They don't want to go there. They don't want to go into, we have material.
Condensation trails, right? That wasn't
condensation trails being hit by the sun.
The other day, right?
Weather balloons,
crazy.
whatever crazy. And at this point, they can come up with any crazy thing and throw it at us. And people will be like, okay, everybody's so enslaved at this point, they can't afford to think about things very much. You know what I mean? They're too busy trying to put food on the table, keep gas in their car, which is something we haven't needed for 100 years. It's nuts.
It's nuts.
The whole thing is nuts, right? I don't know how I got going, but
all of it, and this goes to the UFOs. This goes to everything, man. It's all by design. Every single thing that they make us think that we're reliant upon is a fabrication.
No,
they made us reliant upon these things. Yes. We never were. So this is how they take control, is by not even actually being needed ever. It's all Hegelian, like dialectic type of stuff, where they create the issues and then they come in as the savior of the issues that they create. Minus that, we'd have a perfectly functioning society, minus these systems that they put in place, these establishments.
You know, there's all kinds of stuff in here if you really go into this, even into the footnotes and all that stuff. You can figure out who their different sources were for every little thing in here, and it's not anything like, you know.
Go to page 15 and read section D, relationships of physics and biophysics to injuries. Read that out to the peeps. I'm going to go
to give but one hypothesis with regard to exotic mechanisms. There is the possibility that those are effects predicted by general relativity theory that would correlate with some of the reported data in which the black body heat spectrum of an object, an anomalous craft, would be blue shifted or increased in frequency under conditions of space-time manipulation. Hold on, I better put the... Whoops. My bad, I keep hitting the wrong button. Sorry, guys. Would be blue shifted, increase in frequency under conditions of a relatively close range, symptoms associated with broadband radiation, microwave visible, UV, soft X-rays could be expected. Adapted from Technical Study 10.0 Human Effects. Medical data supports this option. That is, mixed NIEMR causes microwave tissue heating and also disruption of clones of white blood cells to cause cessation of cell division. This Green and Cheshire unpublished findings of a pair of well-documented human cases, Cash Landrum in 1987. These cases and all other clinical data in this report are HIPAA protected. One of the outcomes from exposure to, say, ionizing radiation due to any of the above phenomena is damage to cellular DNA. This hazard is one of the daunting challenges to be met and overcome, even when it comes to consideration of such human-oriented activities as space flight for extended periods of time. Fortunately, the understanding of DNA structure and mechanisms has progressed to the point that techniques for characterizing DNA are being routinely applied in such civilian applications as crime scene investigations and paternity testing. How damage occurs. The term radio frequency, when applied to the electromagnetic spectrum, covers the frequency range of 100 kilohertz to 300 gigahertz. The term microwave is applied to the frequency range 300 megahertz to 300 gigahertz. The range 300 megahertz to 3 gigahertz is termed ultra high frequency and includes cellular telephones, television broadcasting, and microwave oven. So they know the difference on all of these different things, that where the source is. They know exactly what it is. They have all of this stuff registered.
Well, it's interesting that they say about the blue shifting and the effects that it would have, and that even within the framework of the general relativity theory, that were a human exposed to this blue shifting, that these are the physical effects that would occur. So I mean, this is something that they know is within the realm of possibility, at least. Did we thank you, Phil Christophers, for the super chat? The dynamic trio.
Sorry, I didn't even see Phil's thing. And that preliminary report too. The use of you didn't think there was anything in that preliminary report, but I'm telling you, when White Hat and I went through that preliminary report, there was little nuggets in there, little itty bitty. You have to go through all this stuff with a fine-tooth comb, and you have to be able to take the crumbs and sort of, put pieces together. But there's always little bits in there that you could draw from to try to figure out what it is. And I'm telling you, with the frequency thing, everything has a signature. Just like we were talking about earlier, Severe. Everything has a signature. They know the signature. In fact, they know when the UFOs are going to come in. You know what I mean? And I know that from personal experience, because the first one that I saw, when it showed up, decloaked, whatever, when it physically became manifest in this dimension, the drones were on it like that. 8 of them. Just like that. Instantly. How did the drones know?
Yeah, exactly.
Again, it's connecting the dots here.
I'm just looking at page 18. There's some crazy stuff there. All of the different, if you want to pull that up, Alara, all the different symptoms. The emergent findings are nearly in all cases, exposures are of the order of minutes or longer. And then it's just got all this stuff. I'm like, damn, dude, I felt half of this stuff at some point, man. I'm like, shit, man, am I being blasted with this stuff? What's going on, man?
Right. I mean, everything from, heart palpitations to just a warming sensation to headaches lasting, 3 weeks or more, severe anxiety. They mentioned Bose lines on fingernails, the testing that can be done with the blood, absent serum enzymes, and CBC findings.
Emotional liability. Malaise and low-grade fever. Like, there's like a lot of this stuff that's like, damn, man. And it effects lasting 3 weeks, temporal and headache effects.
God, it sounds like a certain weapon that was just released on the population, right? A lot of the same.
Real for real.
Well, okay, here's what's interesting. Since you brought it up, Severe, click on page 31, and it gives us a table of the frequency that these symptoms are reported. And out of all of their cases, now there's probably some overlap here. Like this, some may have experienced certain things and others experienced other things. The number one effect from these close encounters is apparent abductions in 129 of the cases. That's number one, apparent abductions. We can see that, that there are 77 cases, there were electromagnetic effects on the vehicle. In 75 of the cases, there was paralysis. Now, I experienced that sleep paralysis. I told you, Alara, when I was trying to get the word Jesus out of my mouth,
right,
and my mouth wouldn't move, and I saw that thing in front of me, and the minute it came out of my mouth, the entire thing stopped. Perceived time loss in 75 of the cases.
So these are
light beam effects.
So these top ones, okay? These are like, if you want to get into it, these are related to what's the word? This is layered. They can come into the dream world. They can alter time. Their tech alters time. So these are all things that would be perceived after an encounter, because the manipulation of our... I don't have the words for this, what I'm trying to say. I can't articulate what I'm trying to say, which is very frustrating for me. When you come into contact with these technologies, there are all these side effects. Just even if you take the dream world alone, the dream world is not what we think it is. A lot of the ETs, they contact people in the dream world. They're able to approach people in the dream world because people are asleep. They don't have their physical body. They can't fight back. Okay, they can't physically do damage.
Your brain is extremely susceptible.
So they come into your brain.
Perception in a dream state.
However you want to define that. Exactly. They come into your dream state and they converse with you when they know you're going to be full of fear and you're going to react. Okay? So they first approach you in the dream state, and then they do a physical manifestation. This happens with, I've talked to so many experiencers, and it's the same dynamic. Okay? So you've got that element of the dream state being contacted via the dream state first, right? Same thing with spaceships. You know, if you talk to a lot of experiencers, they'll tell you spaceships, we don't understand what they are. They're not just physical nuts and bolts ships. Your astral body can be taken onto a ship, and your physical body left in your bed. So we've got time displacement, okay? We've got reports of abductions, and these are the top ones. What is an abduction? It's when your astral body or your physical body, one or both, are taken onto a craft. But even define a craft. What are we talking about when we say craft? This topic is so layered, and it gets so, there's so much to it. I just want to point out that these first ones, we don't even understand the dynamic of contact or the multidimensional nature of our existence, the spirit world, the afterlife, the soul. We don't have any concept of this stuff as a race on this planet. And these are the top, it's no accident that these are the top things that are listed here, So when we're given such limited information, how can we have any kind of even an attempted understanding at what we're dealing with here? When they're,
No, I'm with you completely. I mean, there were 129 cases that were apparent abductions. You mentioned the top effects, but like if you look down, if you scroll
and then we go into physical effects, and then this is physical. Right.
Even more than that, though, even more than just the physical effects, you see that they do say 9 of the cases apparent experience of telepathy. And all of those articles and stuff we were looking at, they're all harping on the alien pregnancies and sexual encounters. Well, only 5 of the cases reported a sexual encounter at all, and there were 43 that reported a medical exam of some sort, but only 5 of those said that they were actual sexual encounters with alien beings.
So they're purposely throwing out the clickbait and the stuff that doesn't have that much sauce, and they're discounting and leaving out the stuff that actually does.
Yeah, you got all this stuff you can actually measure, for God's sakes. Marks left on body, marks left on the ground, vomiting, stuff that you can quantify, eye injuries, for God's sakes. I mean, things that you can quantify. They don't really mention that, but they will harp on those 5 people.
So they're making a clown. You guys, the talking heads are making a clown show out of actual data points. You know what I mean? So really, and I didn't realize we'd reach this conclusion, but you got to ask yourself why. Why are they talking about the pregnancies? Why are they talking about this stuff when there's all this other stuff they could bring up and talk about?
Oh, they also mention, I see if you go down one more page, claimed ESP development 4 cases, perceived teleportation 3 cases for teleportation, I mean, so these are a minority of the cases. Now there are people that have had a close encounter and then developed some sort of, I don't know, ESP abilities, right?
It happened to me.
So I mean, it's crazy.
It happens to a lot of people.
To point out.
Dude, and look at one of the main things was they were talking about time or perception of time.
Right.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm sure you guys have experienced it, and also I'm sure have seen it in your chats, where people talk about the timeline now. Time is warped, man.
Whacked.
It's messed up for everyone. Like
Whacked.
And people, I mean, I guess at a certain level, people realize that time's kind of like a ridiculous construct to begin with. Like, just that's a whole completely different topic, just time in and of itself.
It's all timey-wimey.
Right, but in terms of just everyone collectively at the same time being like, yo, time is weird, man. Like,
look at the Mandela effect.
I was just going to say that. The number of people that have said that.
It's like everybody, and it's like days melt into each other. You can't remember what day was what, and it seems like something was yesterday and it was a week ago. It's like, yo, time is just, all messed up. It's really messed up. So there's no way that like that just happens to be coincidental, that everybody, when this was never a thing, where everyone at the same time collectively is like, yeah, my concept of time is really warped, and it never was, but now it is. Like, everything's super sped up. It seems like the timeline shifted at a certain point, and now it's just in like fast forward.
Yeah, it's on mode.
Stuff that used to be dripped out, like, 1 week you would get this, the next week you would get this, a month later you would get this. It's like, dude, every hour there's like something happening. It's just like chaos, you know what I mean? I think that's absolutely part of the design, is to keep people in a state of chaotic, like, rat race kind of like mentality. Yes. And it what it does is it takes logic away from a lot of things, because now instead of being able to think critically about whatever it is that you happen to be experiencing, while you're starting to do that, a wave of other shit comes at you. Right. And it's like, whoa, what the hell? Like, it's just complete chaos, man. And I think that's absolutely part of the design. So to see those kind of symptoms at the top of the list makes sense to me. I think they're hitting us all with this on a certain level.
Yeah, Christina Fisher just said, the only way that we know time and how fast it moves are all the appointments that we have at certain times. It's true.
It is true.
Man.
If you take off the watch, you don't have any appointments, you don't have a job you got to go to at a certain time, take all that away, then what does time become to you? What is your perception of time at that point? What is your perception of how quickly we're moving? You get what I'm saying? Like, it's literally a construct.
Yes, 1,000,000%.
We believe it, that we collectively believe it.
Yep. Right. 1,000,000%. Absolutely.
I mean, physics tells you it's all happening all at the same. It's, we look at it linearly, but it's not a linear thing. Thank you, Kaboomer, for the can. And what up, Hang 10 Alien Surfer, who says, do not try to bend the spoon. Let the spoon bend you. Right? This is true.
And what, dude, you can't sit there for hours every single day and weeks and months and years the way that people used to, and look up at the stars and be able to gauge things by it and understand where you are in relative terms.
People can't even read a map, man.
Exactly. So when you have
so that was our perception of time before, right?
Right.
It's not anymore. It's a clock.
No, exactly. That's what's changed. Time.
Oh.
You used to understand, and you understood how tides worked, and it went into farming and seasons. That was your gauge of time. Now it's, at 9:30 I have a doctor's appointment, or at 2:00 I need to be at work. That was never a thing.
And the crops, the planting of the crops, and the harvest. This is why people use that. Oh, okay.
Waking up at 6:00 in the morning for work didn't mean getting up and putting on a suit and tie and going into your job.
It meant the sun was up and you got to go out in the field.
And you need to go tend to your to your crops, and you need to take care of your property. That's what it was.
Right.
Now, no, it's completely constructed. It's not only is time a construct, every single thing that time governs is a construct.
Right.
And time is just the umbrella that kind of encompasses all of that stuff. And what does it do? When you're looking here, you're not looking there.
Right. Wow, guys, completely great conversation. We're coming up on 2 hours here. This, you know, I've had a phenomenal. We've touched on so many different subjects, but it doesn't even matter that we weren't totally focused on every detail of this report. I mean,
we got enough.
Yeah, and I think I know personally, I discovered, I don't know, a whole bunch of things hit me tonight. Like just things I hadn't really fully realized, or directions my mind hadn't gone with things. Just fascinating conversation. You've been an awesome guest, Severe, and we are definitely gonna have to do this again. I don't know,
Thank you
know, another dig or something. Yeah, because you
Absolutely.
I love the way your mind works. You know.
Thank you so much. Anytime you guys want to have me, seriously, just holla at your boy, and you know I'm here for sure. It's always a good time, always a blast with y'all.
Awesome.
Yeah, and those that haven't checked out Severe's music, he's been in the music game a long time, and he's an awesome. What do you call yourself, Severe? Are you a hip hop artist, a rapper? What do you say?
Yeah, I'll all the above. I'll take it all. I will take it all. Red pill music artist.
Red pill music.
There you go.
Red pill music. If you haven't checked out Severe, check out his stuff. His links have been posted in all the chats this evening. He has amazing mods that follow him from platform to platform and make sure and post all the stuff.
Right. Woo-hoo.
Right? He's got some Rockstar mods. Shout out to Severe's mods, man. They're awesome. So yeah. Comments? Either of you?
Bro.
Comments?
Right.
Boyle?
Tonight was awesome. I love the direction that it went, where it started. But what's cool is we kept bringing it back around to the original topic. And that's what it's all about, is tying all this stuff together. Mm-hmm. Because I think ultimately what we all want to find out with this disclosure and, you know, more of the information coming to light is why now? And what is their purpose in doing this? What's their goal?
Buddy.
Where are they going
What's
with this,
their
man?
end game? Because once you know the destination, then the journey there makes sense. If you don't know the destination, the journey is very crazy and it's very chaotic. But if we know what their end game is with this and why they're timing it this way, it's a lot easier to connect the dots and understand what they're doing and get ahead of it and be able to break the narrative before they could even fully form it.
Man, the great narrative, as our buddy Klaus would say.
Yeah, so go through these reports, you guys. Like, you know, there's always stuff to find. Even when you, we could easily be like, we only got 30 pages of the 1500, you know, but I've learned, you know, I learned from that preliminary report not to do that. You're always going to find nuggets in these document drops. You always are going to find stuff that you're going to be able to connect dots that you couldn't connect before. So it's worth your time to go through them. And, I don't know what we'll do next time, you guys, but we got to do something. Another live dig, a part 2 of this, see what we can get our hands on. But we got to do something soon, because this has been a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun.
For real, just let me know and we'll make it happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, big thank you to the mods and all the people that super chatted and threw up gold pills tonight. We really appreciate you guys, all your support and stuff. Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. This has been a really enjoyable dig.
Don't forget their scratching.
Oh, I better get the scratching off.
You better give them their scratching. Right? Yeah, it's so nice. Thank you guys for joining us here this lovely Monday evening. Thanks for hanging out, Severe. I'm gonna hit you up about conspiracy theory trivia. Probably week after next if you're free.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Just let me know. We will absolutely make that happen.
Fantastic.
Yeah, all right, so go ahead.
You got anything coming up that you wanted to know about? Well, thank you for the ship, Severe.
Did he really just... Severe.
Yes, I think that brings us to 4,500. So, yeah, man, 45.
Woohoo.
We love you, man. You're our homie, man. We're so happy to have you on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to tell them? Anything coming up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping maybe towards the end of this week. I'm going to shoot for the weekend. I should have another project completely wrapped up, another CD, well, not a CD, but digital album to drop. Hopefully that'll be up on the website. Definitely shooting to make that happen for the weekend. And the first 100 people out there that go and grab that from therealsevere.com will come with a free digital download that will be a part of that package, where it's a different compilation of music. I'm not going to say what it is. It's going to be a surprise.
Like
I'll just say they're oldies but goodies, but there's a reason they're going to be put together in one package. So that'll come free with the copy of the new album. So I'm definitely looking forward to making that happen. Hopefully by this weekend. If not, definitely by next week, because it's all wrapped up. It's just a matter of getting it up there. That's all.
Well, fantastic.
Yeah, guys, so therealsevere.com. If any of the mods are still out there, if you want to post the website in the chat, that would be super cool. In fact, I'm just going to go and grab it and post it myself right now.
There you go.
Before we say goodnight, I want to make sure everybody has the website.
Yeah, and you guys know we'll be back Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern with super awesome Space Force news. So definitely come join us for that. And there will be conspiracy theory trivia this Friday. That is at 8 p.m. Eastern time on my channel. So go click my subscribe button and come hang out.
Yeah, and on that note, fam, there is the link to Severe's website. Go and check out his music. He's awesome. On that note, good night, everybody. We will catch you later.